begin where the county executive led off. I think it is important to note her appreciation for all of the different departments here in Allegheny County that responded to this tragedy here at the Clairton Coke Works. I think it is also critically important to not just thank them, the first responders that ran toward danger, but to thank your county executive who was in charge of this emergency, who handled it effectively, who brought all of the resources to bear in order to be able to address the needs of this community. The county executive and I spoke multiple times yesterday. I thought she did an extraordinary job in really difficult circumstances, and we appreciate her leadership here. I want to say just how thankful I am to each and every first responder, to each and every member of the United Steelworkers who literally every day go forward in their jobs to help build this region, build this Commonwealth, and build this country. It is dangerous work that they do. It shouldn't be as dangerous as it was yesterday. And we owe them an answer for what happened. We owe them the answers to their questions, and we owe them to never forget the sacrifices that occurred here yesterday. I have been assured in both my conversation yesterday with Dave Burritt, the CEO of U.S. Steel, who you will hear from in a moment, and again in the briefing that we just had, that U.S. Steel is committed to two things. Number one, getting to the bottom of what occurred and ensuring a safe plant for their workers when they return. And number two, making sure that the broader community is protected going forward. As the county executive noted, there was a lot of government working together yesterday and continues today. Local, state, and federal government all working together. And while we should be proud of the fact that your government officials and your first responders are doing what they need to do, we need to remember that this was a human tragedy, that we lost 2 lives here yesterday at this plant, that there are others who remain hospitalized and injured. I hope you'll join me and Lori in continuing to pray for those who are injured and for those families who lost a loved one. Part of the reason why we're a bit late here is I had spent a good deal of time this morning together with Tricia and Lucy, the sister and the girlfriend of one of our beloved steelworkers who worked in this facility for nearly 2 decades. He went by the name of TQ. TQ is a special person, a devoted father of 3, someone who I understood served as a mentor to the other steelworkers who were here, someone that apparently you would go to on a rough day when you needed a joke or when you needed your stones busted. He was the guy who was there for others while being there as a leader in this plant. I think it's important to note that he was also a second-generation steelworker. He followed in his father's footsteps. And as his sister Tricia and his girlfriend Lucy shared with me, he was also a mama's boy who, after working long and tough shifts here at the plant, would go take care of his mom and look after his 3 children and look after Lucy's 2 children as well. He was devoted to them. He cared about them, and his life was cut too short because of what happened here at this plant. We have a responsibility to remember his legacy, to make sure that his memory lives on. And I trust that with Bernie Hall's leadership here at the Steelworkers and the commitment of Dave Burritt and the team at U.S. Steel, and of course the work that's going to be done by our county executive Innamorato and others, we will honor his legacy, and we will make sure that his children know that their dad was a special man, a good man, and a man who helped build this community with his hands the way his father did. We lost another life yesterday, and that family wishes that their identity should remain private at this time, and we will respect that. But know that the prayers of all 13 million Pennsylvanians rest with this Clairton community, rest with those two individuals who lost their lives and with those who continue with this struggle in the hospital to get physically well. I trust the county executive in Amerada will continue to lead this forward with the skill and the decency that she has. I know she will work with the mayor and the Clairton community to address any questions that they have about air quality and water quality. It bears repeating that under the leadership of Director Padfield at Pima, who joins me here today, we've provided the resources that have been requested, and there have been no troubling tests of air or water that we have seen yet, but we all want to remain vigilant, and I know the U.S. Steel joins us in wanting to remain vigilant to ensure the well-being of not just those who work at this plant, but all of the wonderful people who live in this community as well. It's going to take a team effort to rebuild here. It's going to take a team effort to lift this community back up. It's going to require the prayers of this Commonwealth, the great work of our county executive, and it's going to require a commitment from U.S. Steel to see this through. Dave Burritt has assured me and assured everyone else that that commitment would be there, and we appreciate his leadership.